follow that straight over all the way to near Cornucopia, that's pretty much going to be your dividing line. This goes in a little bit about the Red Cliff wolf stewardship, about the 6 mile buffer, and then some disturbance restrictions. I already went into things on the 6 mile buffer. The only thing I left out is probably the utilization of non-lethal mitigation techniques, because as far as I know, we're not really interested in any kind of lethal mitigation techniques, because that's essentially just doing a different version of the hunt, so that's not something that the tribe needs. An additional buffer of half-mile around den sites and rendezvous sites, basically just some extra protection to make sure that when they're young and they're vulnerable, they're not going to be subject to any kind of extra invasiveness or whatever you want to call it from people, essentially keep people away from those areas. This is just a little basic map that shows that 6 mile buffer, in case people didn't have an idea of where that might end. And obviously, I've said that I would like to make this bigger, but this would just be a starting point. This is just where we start the conversation of where that potential no quota zone could be in future hunts. This goes in a little bit about the incidental kill capture, education and outreach. And since I already touched a little bit about incidental kill capture, I'll just talk about the education and outreach. So part of the education and outreach is doing things like this, doing a presentation. I also did a presentation for the Bayfield school system. And I was thinking about doing a presentation for the Midwest Wolf Stewards Conference. Part of that is just to get the word out there. Let people know what Red Cliff wants to do, why they want to do it, why they feel it's important, why other people should care about it. And another way we can get that out there, we put out newsletter articles, we have e-newsletter, there's a Facebook page that we recently started utilizing. There's a lot of different tools available to us in order to get this message out there and educate people about what we're trying to do. For conflict management, the focus is obviously to prevent and mitigate any kind of conflicts. And right now, this is basically non-existent on the reservation. Since I started work here, I've not heard of any wolf conflicts. I haven't had anybody say that they've had dogs attacked or cattle attacked or anything like that. So this is just something we would look to in the future, but it is important that we recognize that there is a potential, especially if the population increases, that there will potentially be conflicts in the future. Another thing is that Red Cliff does not provide subsidies or restitution for wolf damages. However, there is a state program that you can apply to if there is a conflict. As far as I know, they provide up to $2,500 if a dog is killed. But that also depends on if you're willing to follow through on the paperwork side of it and prove how much your dog is worth. Make sure you bring a staff member in to prove that it was indeed a wolf that caused this. There's some steps that you have to follow there. And then recommendations, I already went into some of those. As far as conflict management, we talked about it a little bit. This is 2014 and then a 2015 map, which doesn't really have much on it yet, but I was just going to show it because that's what I had available. And this shows some of the conflicts that they have had, whether it's livestock or pets and whatnot. And it also gives a relative range of where the wolf range was last year and then where it can be expected to be found again this year. Obviously, Red Cliff is included with that, along with the whole northern part of the state. I do believe that there was some potentially left out of this, because when I went to the Wolf Advisory Council meeting, there was 34 different predation events last year that I was made aware of. And I don't see 34 represented on that, so that does seem to be...
Several of those, you could have more than one depredation event and at the same location.
Very
Each time
point.
there's a new depredation, it's reported as a new depredation.
Very valid point.
So you can have a farm that has 3 or 4 over the course in summer. Yeah.
And if anybody did want extra information on that, if you're worried about taking dogs into the woods and things like that, the DNR does have maps available where these depredations occurred, and then there's a buffer zone around those that they recommend steering clear of if you're going to try to protect your hunting dogs or your dogs, or if you just don't want to necessarily have wolves when you're going for a walk in the woods or something to that effect. It'll at least let you know the areas that you can try to steer clear of. Next slide. All right, now comes my favorite part. This is some of the photos. So in this photo, you can see there's a female that was collared by Todd Noss of the Wisconsin DNR. She was about 60 pounds at the time of collaring, and these are her 4 pups. We weren't sure initially if they were her pups or not, but there's been enough photo evidence to where I can feel very confident saying that that is the alpha female from this pack. Next slide. Here's an older photo just showing a red cliff wolf. This is one, I don't know if this was an alpha male or an alpha female. There was several either lone wolf or pair wolf photos that were taken previously, but that was before I started work here. I just got there. Here's another photo showing some of the pups. These pups are about, I had them at about 2 to 3 months old is what I guessed during this time, because they had just left the dead sites and they were able to go to rendezvous sites and kill sites, which is where this was at. This was very close to what I believe to be one of the rendezvous sites. Another photo that shows the 4 pups and the female, and you can easily see her collar right there. I actually had some people that tried to tell me that this was a coyote, but I don't remember when the DNR started collaring coyotes, so that one gave me a good chuckle. On the right-hand side, this is the first time I got a glimpse of the alpha male of the pack, and then there's a couple of the pups there with him, and he tends to be very elusive compared to the female. He's only showed up a few times, and he doesn't like to usually show up with the pups. He tends to show up by himself, and he usually steers to the outside of the frame, so it's almost like he knows where the photo frame is going to end up or something. It's different. Excellent. Here's some more of the wolves playing and whatnot, the pups. One on the left is a photo of a young wolf that was taken before I started working here, and then there's one on the right. This one is one that gave me, I'm not sure what's going on there, because at the time when this was taken, the wolves were off the reservation, and this appeared to be a lone wolf that came in inspecting their territory. So I don't know if he was looking for a mate. I don't know if he was coming in looking to join the pack, or if he was just coming trying to steal a free meal. I don't really know. I've never seen this individual since. That was the only time that wolf managed to come on the reservation around with my camera. Okay, on the top photos on the right there in the middle, these are the only daytime photos I was able to get of the alpha male. Like I said, he's been very elusive. He does not like to show his face a whole lot, but I was able to get him in these. And a little bit hard to tell from this one, but he's definitely sizably different from the female. He's probably, I would say, at least 20, 25 pounds larger than her. And you can just see by his overall stature, he's more impressive size-wise. And the female is again off to the left, and then the bottom is one of the pups again. Here's some more photos on top of the female, some up-close ones of the collar. Down in the bottom, these are some later on photos of the pups. This is the pups at about the 5 to 6 month mark, when they were, as far as I know, they were actually traveling with the pack to the majority of the places they were going, because they were not showing up on trail cameras as regularly anymore. Here is another one at the 5 month mark with the pups up top with the mom, the alpha male, or alpha female rather, and the bottom is another one of the photos with the alpha male, one of the very few that he showed up in. All right, here are some more up close ones. You can get a really good look at that collar that she's got right there, and there's no mistaking who the individual is in here, because she showed up so many times, and it's obvious that she's the alpha female, and that is her, probably her, I don't know what I was trying to say, probably her main area that she operates with the pups during the denning season that we think we've identified, but I think this year we'll get some more of that information and narrow it down a little bit more, so that we can protect those areas. Some more photos of the pups. Probably getting a little redundant at this point, but I had a lot of those photos, so I kind of wanted to share. Here's some more close-ups of the pups doing what pups do, attacking each other, practicing for when they get bigger and they need to assert dominance and figure out pack hierarchy and things like that. This is where that all starts. Here's some more close-ups. And here's some more. All right, at this point, I think I've probably shared the majority of what I'd like to share. I'd like to open it up if anybody has any questions or comments, or would like to tell me ways that they thought I messed up or anything like that, by all means. Do you want to say something, buddy?